halides, ठीक है. So that's also electrophilic addition. So we're still talking about electrophilic addition. Now, what happens in this reaction is kind of the same reaction, nothing really different. It's just you've got an alkene and HCl or HBr or some other hydrogen halide. It just simply gets added to it. So आपके पास you're going to have a double bond, CNH and H, and the reaction will be with let's say it's with HCl. So when it's with HCl, it's the double bond is going to break and it will turn into a single bond. And on these two carbon atoms, the one that were making the double bond, ठीक है, ये दो carbon atoms, HCl molecule will get added. So which one is going to be the major product? Where will the H get added to? The right carbon atom or the left one?
Right.
ठीक है, so H gets added to the carbon that's already bonded to, according to Markovnikov's rule, that's the one that's already bonded to more H atoms, and the Cl will get added to the carbon atom that's bonded to fewer H atoms. So that's going to be your, I said that's going to be your major product. और फिर साथ ही ना you'll have your minor product as well. ठीक है, that's a minor product exactly उसका opposite होगा, that's CH3 और फिर C और H. So then you have यहाँ bottom पे there's going to be Cl यहाँ पे होगा और H यहाँ पे होगा. That's so that's going to be your minor product in this case. So two products are going to be formed, and that's pretty much it. It could be HCl, or you could have a reaction with HBr or HI. It's going to be exactly the same reaction. No specific conditions for this. You just add HCl and you get electrophilic addition. Okay? So there are no specific conditions for this reaction, and the mechanism is exactly electrophilic. So it's exactly the same mechanism. कि अगर मैं सारा mechanism draw करूँ ना, it's going to be that you'll have an alkene, double bond C and HH. The HCl molecule is already polar, so it already has a positive side, and it's got a slight negative side. Like when it's coming close to the double bond, the electrons in the bond in HCl, they will be repelled even further away. So the negative charge will become even bigger and the positive charge will become even bigger, and it's going to be attracted to the electron cloud in the double bond. ठीक है, वो pi electron cloud that's going to be attracted to it. And since it's going to be attracted to it, the next step will be okay, the double bond electrons will get attracted to the positive H, and the carbon in the double bond one of the carbons will become a carbocation, and the next step, the Cl minus one will come in with its electrons, and it is going to be attracted to this carbon atom. Okay, that's, and your product is going to be formed, the major product. ठीक है, और कल हमने डिस्कस किया था कि secondary or tertiary carbocations are more stable, so this carbocation is more likely to be formed. ठीक है, the carbocation that's got more alkyl chain, that's more likely to be, it's more likely to be formed. So this is the reaction mechanism, which is exactly the same as electrophilic addition that we did previously. ठीक है? तो ये सारा ना electrophilic addition, we're done with it. ठीक है? That's we did Markovnikov's rule, we did all the, मतलब bromination से start हुआ था, और फिर करते करते इन सारों को मैं एक सेकंड अंडरलाइन कर लूं. That's, अच्छा, so we had, अच्छा, we had the bromination reaction, and after that we had hydration of alkenes. ठीक है? So and after that we did discuss Markovnikov's rule. We discussed hydrogenation. That's the third reaction. Or finally at the end we did hydrogen halides. ठीक है? तो ये clear है सारों को what is electrophilic addition?
जी सर.
अच्छा, फिर चलो ठीक है. Achha, then you have a major and minor product. Remember that. Achha, so the next thing that we're going to do about alkenes is, achha, most of these previous reactions, you have already done this in your O levels as well. अब अगला वाला ये कि the next reaction is कि oxidation of alkenes. ठीक है? Let's do oxidation of alkenes. Achha, oxidation of alkenes is, this wasn't in O levels. You did not study oxidation of alkenes. There are two types of oxidation of alkenes. The first one is known as mild oxidation. अच्छा, mild oxidation में होता है कि you use mild conditions basically, and the reaction is pretty simple. It's very similar to an addition reaction. Like if I have an alkene and I've got double bond and each atom's attached to it. ठीक है? Sometimes they'll refer to the oxidizing agent as an O. ठीक है? The O represents an oxidizing agent. और इसका ना फिर reaction होगा. And during that reaction, what will happen is that the molecule will simply, it's like an addition reaction. वो जो double bond वाला जो part है ना, exactly where the double bond is, two hydroxy groups are going to get attached to it. So there's going to be an OH and there's going to be another OH that's going to be attached to it. And your byproduct is going to be a water molecule. ठीक है? तो साथ ही ना you get a, अच्छा, साथ ही you get a water molecule as well. So that's it. You just get two hydroxy. So you get two hydroxy groups. And this is known as a, I mean, it's literally known as a diol. So diols are formed. The proper name for this one is propan 1,2-diol. ठीक है? तो in this specific case, it's, in this specific case, it's propan 1,2-diol. The conditions that are required for this reaction are that you need cold and dilute. Remember, it's mild conditions, so it's cold, dilute, KMnO4. ठीक है? Those are the conditions that are needed for this reaction. और that's it. ठीक है, that's mild oxidation. तो इसमें बस ये कि आपको कहीं भी ना, wherever you see an alkene, like if I draw a skeletal formula for molecule, so wherever you're going to see an alkene, put two OH groups in its position. So let's say we've got this molecule, and it's got a double bond here, and there's a double bond over here as well. अच्छा, ये molecule, if I do mild oxidation of this thing, तो ये जो molecule है ना, सब कुछ वही रहेगा, except for the fact कि यहाँ पे ना the double bond is going to go away, and on those specific carbon atoms, OH groups are going to get, I mean, there was one over here, and there was one over here, this was double bond, right? So there would be OH groups that are going to get attached to these carbon atoms. और यहाँ पे भी यही होगा, ठीक है? So diols are going to get, अच्छा, diols are going to get produced, ठीक है? Is that clear?
Yes, sir. Yes.
अच्छा, now the strong oxidation, there's another one which is number 2. अच्छा, mild is easy, just put OH groups, ठीक है? The second one is strong oxidation. It's that's slightly trickier, ठीक है? So strong oxidation is, so firstly, the conditions that are required for strong oxidation. For strong oxidation, you would be needing hot concentrated acidified KMnO4. ठीक है, it's going to be hot concentrated acidified KMnO4 potassium magnate 7. ठीक है, नाम भी लिख दो. This is potassium magnate 7. अब इसमें ये कि hot concentrated acidified KMnO4. Now the first thing that happens is that the double bond in alkene completely breaks. Nothing is left. As a double bond breaks completely. So wherever you have a double bond, the carbon will be bonded to two things. Now in this situation, the double bond in our case is completely splitting up into two parts. So the molecule kind of breaks into two parts, and you've got these two carbon atoms. Something will happen to these two carbon atoms. They're going to get oxidized. The rest of the molecule remains exactly the same. We don't care about the rest of the molecule. It's the double bonded carbon atoms that will undergo a very specific change. And that changes three scenarios. Number one, कि या तो वो double bonded carbon atom had two H's bonded to it. Then this one will get oxidized. It will turn into, so this one will turn into carbon dioxide and water. Okay, that's the first one. The second situation is that the double bonded carbon atom had, on one side it had a carbon chain, and on one side it's got an H atom. So second situation, you've got a carbon chain. R represents a carbon chain, and on one side you have an H. Now, this particular situation will lead to the formation of, first, it's going to form an aldehyde. So the double bonded carbon atom will turn into, it will get oxidized and H gets added to it. And then it will further get oxidized to a, carboxylic acid. So यहाँ पे ना, it's going to turn into a, so it will become double bond ONOH. And there is an R. Okay, so it turns into an aldehyde and then a carboxylic acid. So then you have a third scenario as well. The third scenario is that the double bonded carbon atom instead has two carbon chains on both sides. Now, in that case, it will just get turned into, it will turn into a ketone. ठीक है, ketone वो होता था serial bond O where on both sides it's got a carbon chain. So this is the idea that there'll be three scenarios. Firstly, the double bond is going to break. It's going to break completely. Then you have to figure out what happens to that carbon atom once it breaks. Nothing happens to the rest of the molecule. Only the double bond wala jo part na, that actually ends up breaking apart. Okay? So the double bonded carbon atom turns into either carbon dioxide molecule if it's got two H's. If it's got a one carbon chain, that will turn into, eventually it will turn into a carboxylic acid. ये लिखना है, ठीक है, not this one. Or it might turn into a ketone. ठीक है, so three scenarios. So let me explain how would those three scenarios work. So I'll give you an example. अच्छा, example ये कि let's have this molecule and this molecule has, अच्छा, it's got a carbon chain. One second. अच्छा, ये वाला molecule, this is example. Okay, you've got CH2 and let's say I've got a carbon and I've got a CH3 branch. This carbon has a double bond, carbon. So let's say I have this molecule. I want to oxidize this molecule. Okay. So what will happen? The first thing that will happen is that the double bond will break. Okay, get rid of this double bond, and nothing should happen to the other molecule. I mean, it's the only changes that will happen to these two carbon atoms. Don't break any other bond or don't do any other thing. The only thing that will happen is it's going to happen to these two carbon atoms. So इसको हम ना copy करके ना, let me. Okay, this is this part, and then there's the right side. Okay, so the molecule is split up into two parts. Okay, so I've got the left side of the molecule. It's got the double bond, and I've got the right side of the molecule where you had the double bond as well. तो ये हो गया, और ये वाला part जो है ना, that's this one. अब वो देखना है कि what will happen to these two. तो अब उसको compare करो, ठीक है? What will this get oxidized into? What will happen to it?
It will become CO.
H2O.
ठीक है, तो ये जो है ना, this will become, if it's got two H's, then it will become carbon dioxide and H2O. अच्छा, और ये वाला किस में होगा? If it's, what will happen to this one?
It will become ketone.
It will become ketone. मैंने लिखा नहीं है ketone, एक से मैं लिख लूं. So this one will become a, so this one over here will become a ketone. So सब कुछ वही रहेगा. The only thing that will change is that particular carbon atom. ठीक है, everything should remain exactly the same. सारी changes जो होंगी ना, that will happen to it will happen to this carbon atom and it will become a ketone. तो यहाँ पे you're getting a, तो ये clear है. बाकी don't touch the rest of the molecule, ठीक है, just touch those carbon atoms, ठीक है, everything will happen to those. So you're gonna get ketone and carbon dioxide. So that is strong oxidation of an alkene. And उस टाइम पे बहुत सारे scenarios होंगे, that's strong oxidation, and you have to be good with it to figure out what the products are. So ये एक example हो गया, ठीक है. Is this example clear? Am I clear? Rafi, clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So apart from that, we'll just do more examples. I said the bigger problem happens with skeletal formulas. So let's do this one. Okay, I have a molecule and it's got a double bond, and then there's a carbon chain, and अच्छा इसका करते हैं. अच्छा, so this particular molecule, पहला काम है, the double bond is going to break, and you're going to focus on this carbon atom and only this carbon atom, ठीक है. तो मुझे इधर बता दो कि if you have one carbon chain, what will it turn into? Like, I mean, focus on this carbon atom. It's got one carbon chain. What will this turn into?
CO2 and water.
नहीं, one ऊपर देखो ना. No carbon chain, CO2 and water. One carbon chain,
Oh,
carboxylic acid. Two carbon chains, ketone. Is that clear?
yes, sir.
It's got मतलब यहाँ पे ना, if you're standing over here, then there's one carbon chain, that's it. ठीक है, I mean, this is broken now, ठीक है, so you got just one carbon chain. So this will turn into a carboxylic acid, ठीक है, तो ये है, and that particular, उसको blue dot कर लेते हैं, that particular blue dot will turn into carboxylic acid. अच्छा, what about the other one? What happens to the, इसको क्या होगा?
Ketone बन जाएगा.
ठीक है, it will turn into a ketone. So you've got, so you in this case you had two carbon chains, ठीक है, specifically this one. So it will just turn into a ketone. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
ये अच्छा, ये अब मैं क्या करूँगा, I'm just giving you questions, ठीक है, ये बैठ के जरा solve करो ना. This is the scenario, ठीक है. Let me just share the board link once more. Okay, hopefully you have the board link. लिखिए, मैं इधर भेजो. अच्छा, ये assignment करनी है. Mild and strong. अच्छा, mild में क्या होगा? Just put two OH groups over here. Get rid of the double bond. Put OH groups over there. ठीक है. दोनों कर लेना, ठीक है इसका. So the assignment is कि अच्छा, so number one, strong and mild oxidation both, right? So 2,3-dimethyl pent doing? Try doing the oxidation. Tell me what the products are. Take number 2. Number 2 is there's a 2-methyl butanene. As in number 3. Number 3 is let me draw a skeletal formula. Okay. So there's a cyclic structure. Try figuring out the product of its oxidation. बल्कि पहले एक कर लेते हैं. There's just one double bond. ठीक है. Try and figure out the product of this oxidation. Number 4 would be, okay, if I do number 4, that's the assignment, like draw products. So for both mild and strong oxidation. अच्छा number 4 वो है अच्छा this is number 4. ठीक है. Tell me what the product is. ठीक है. अच्छा मैं both double bonds will break in this case. फिर number 5 कर लेते हैं कि I've got a molecule and it's got many double bonds. So there's a double bond here. ठीक है. Tell me the product of this thing. कोई 6 भी कर लेते हैं. It's so number 6. That could be अच्छा pent 1,3-diene. 1,3-diene होगा शायद 1,3-diene. ये 6 क्वेश्चंस है. ठीक है. Is that clear?
जी सर.
तो इनके जरा प्रॉब्लम डाउन और अभी भेज देना. ठीक है. तो दैट इज फॉर और ये 3 सिनेरियोज है. माइल्ड का भी बता देना, स्ट्रॉन्ग का भी. ठीक है. दिस इन्वॉल्व्स नेमिंग एज वेल. तो ये उस पर देखना. ये मैं उस पर ग्रुप पे भेज रहा हूँ. ठीक है. इनके बनाने हैं. ठीक है. ये मुझे फिर व्हाट्सएप पे ना रिप्लाई ऑन व्हाट्सएप. सही है.
ओके सर.
चलो ठीक है. यहाँ से फिर मैं डिस्कनेक्ट कर रहा हूँ. ये सारे अभी भेजना. ठीक है. 10-15 मिनट्स में.
ओके सर.
चले. ओके. ठीक है. अल्लाह हाफिज.
अल्लाह हाफिज.